Let's say you find a beautiful condo in Puerto Vallarta listed for $300,000. You have the money, you are ready to make an offer. So, does that mean $300,000 is all you need? No. And this is where many foreign buyers make their first budgeting mistake. They focus on the listing price, but they forget about closing costs, the bank draws, escrow, inspections, furniture, HOA fees, insurance, utilities, and the cash reserve they might need after closing. A $300,000 property can require considerably more than $300,000 in available funds. So today, I am going to help you calculate the real financial commitment, not just the advertised price. Welcome to episode 6 of the Foreign Buyer's Guide to Mexico. I am Nancy Valiente, a real estate advisor, attorney, and economist based in Puerto Vallarta. In the previous episode, we compared pre-construction and resale properties and discussed how the right choice depends on your objectives, timeline, and tolerance for risk. But whether you choose pre-construction or resale, you still need to answer one critical question. How much money should you actually have available before you start the purchasing process? And I want to be very clear from the beginning. The percentages in this video are planning ranges, not universal quotes. Costs vary by state, municipality, purchase price, property type, bank, notary, and the legal structure of the transaction. Before signing anything, you should obtain a written closing cost estimate for the specific property you are considering. When buyers tell me their budget, they often say something like, Nancy, my budget is $300,000, but I need to understand what that means. Do they really mean they want to buy a property price at $300,000? Or do they mean $300,000 is the maximum amount of cash they can spend in total? Those are two completely different budgets. If your absolute financial limit is $300,000, you probably should not be shopping for a property price at $300,000. You need to leave room for the acquisition expenses and the money required to make property usable. As a conservative planning rule for Puerto Vallarta and Bahía de Banderas, I suggest that foreign buyers initially reserve approximately 6 to 9% of the purchase price for acquisition and closing related expenses. That does not mean every transaction will cost 9%. Some might be lower, but budgeting too little creates a much bigger problem than reserving slightly more than you ultimately need. Therefore, if your total available cash is $300,000, a safer initial property search range might be approximately $275,000 to $280,000. Once we receive the specific estimate, we can adjust. But I would rather begin conservatively than discover after signing that your available funds do not cover the full transaction. The phrase closing costs can sound like one single charge. It is not. It is a group of taxes, rights, professional fees, certificates, registrations, permits, and administrative expenses required to legally transfer the property. Let's separate the principal components. Acquisition or transfer tax. The buyer generally pays a tax connected with acquiring the property. The applicable calculation depends on the state and municipality, and it might not be based only on the negotiated purchase price. The notary might need to compare different values associated with the property and apply the legally required basis. This is one reason I do not recommend taking a generic percentage from the internet and assuming it applies to your purchase. Puerto Vallarta is in the state of Jalisco. Nuevo Nayarit and Bucerías are in the state of Nayarit. These are neighboring markets, but they do not necessarily use identical tax calculation. Number 2. Notarial expenses. A Mexican notary is not simply someone who witnesses signatures. The notary performs a governmental and legal function in the transfer. The notary's office coordinates or verifies elements such as legal ownership of the property, existing liens or encumbrances, property tax and water records, permits and certificates, the calculation and collection of applicable taxes, the preparation of the public deed, and registration of the transaction. The amount attributed to notarial work is not necessarily one flat percentage. It can include professional fees plus multiple third-party expenses. Number 3. Public registry. After the deed is signed, the acquisition must be registered with the appropriate public registry of property. Registration is what gives the transaction the required public effect against third parties. There might be also fees for certificates, lien searches, preventive notices, and final registration. Appraisal and certificates. Depending on the transaction, you might need an appraisal, cadastral documents, tax certificates, no lien certificates, condominium information, or other official records. Individually, some of these items might appear small. Collectively, they matter. That is why I use an overall planning range instead of telling a buyer, the notary will cost you exactly this percentage. The correct question is not, what is the generic percentage in Mexico? The correct question is, what is the written estimate for this property in this municipality at this purchase value using this ownership structure? If you are a foreign buyer purchasing residential property in Puerto Vallarta, Nuevo Nayarit, Bucerías, or another coastal location within Mexico's restricted zone, you will generally acquire the beneficial rights through a Mexican bank trust called a fideicomiso. The restricted zone covers land within 50 kilometers of the coastal and 100 kilometers of Mexico's international borders. The Mexican bank appears as trustee, but the foreign buyer is the beneficiary and retains the rights established in the trust, including the ability to use, lease, improve, sell or transfer the property subject to the law and the trust agreement. The fideicomiso introduces several possible costs: the federal permit issued through Mexico's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the bank's acceptance or setup fee, the first annual administration fee, taxes applicable to the bank's fees, and related notarial processing. The official government fee for the federal permit can change annually. It should therefore be quoted at the same time of the transaction. The current published federal amount for issuing the restricted zone trust permit is 21,650 Mexican pesos, but that is not the entire cost of creating the fideicomiso. The bank establishes its own initial and annual charges. For initial planning purposes, it would normally tell a buyer to reserve approximately between $1,500 to $3,000 for the initial fideicomiso related package, depending on the bank, exchanging rate, and transaction. Then, after closing, expect an annual bank administration fee that is commonly in a price range approximately between $450 up to $700 per year, plus any applicable taxes or adjustments. That is not a universal bank tariff. It is a planning range. You should receive the bank's current fee schedule before selecting or accepting the trust. Fideicomiso is not rent. You are not paying the bank for permission to stay in the property. It is the legal structure through which my foreign residential buyers hold rights to coastal real estate. The Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs maintains the formal permit process for this restricted zone trust. Now, let's talk about moving the money. In many transactions involving foreign buyers, funds are placed with an independent escrow company until the contractual closing conditions have been satisfied. Escrow is not automatically required in every Mexican transaction, but when property is structured, it can help prevent the buyer's money from being released directly to the seller before the agreement conditions are met. Escrow providers charge fees. Depending on the company, transaction size, number of disbursements, and complexity, a buyer might reserve approximately $600 to $800 for escrow services. In some transactions, the parties negotiate who pays this expense. In others, it is divided. Do not assume. Read the offer and escrow instructions. There is also a cost buyers frequently overlook: current conversion and wire transfer charges. Suppose the property is priced in US dollars, but certain taxes, government fees, or closing expenses must be paid in Mexican pesos. The exchange rate used by your bank or transfer provider can affect the amount you ultimately spend. A difference of 1% of $300 is $3,000. This does not mean you will convert the entire purchase price at 1% loss. It means exchange rate planning matters. Ask, in which currency is the purchase price legally established? In which currency must each payment be made? Which exchange rate applies under the contract? Who pays bank intermediary fees? Will the seller receive the full contracted amount after deductions? Never send a large international transfer based only on WhatsApp instructions. Verify wiring instructions through a second trusted channel before sending funds. If this video is helping you understand the real cost of buying in Mexico, subscribe to the channel and watch the complete Foreign Buyer's Guide to Mexico playlist. Each episode addresses one stage of the purchasing process so you can make decisions in the correct order, not after the money has already been committed. Closing expenses are not the only costs that should exist in your budget. You might also need professional due diligence before closing. For a resale property, that can include a physical inspection of electrical systems, plumbing, air conditioning equipment, moisture or waterproofing, appliances, windows and doors, and visible structural concerns. An inspection does not guarantee that nothing will ever fail. Its purpose is to identify observable conditions and help you make an informed decision. Depending on the property size and the scope of work, a buyer might reserve approximately between $300 to $500 for a general property inspection. Specialized inspections or engineering evaluation might cost more. You might also choose to retain independent legal or tax advice, particularly when the ownership history is complicated, the seller is a corporation, you're buying through an entity, the unit has rental income, the transaction involves assignment rights, or you need advice regarding US or Canadian tax consequences. Those services are not always part of the notary's role or the real estate agent's services. Your budget should reflect the professionals your particular transaction requires. Trying to save a few $100s by avoiding unnecessary inspection or legal review can expose you to a much larger loss. After closing, you own the property, but the expenses do not stop. Let's begin with the HOA. In a condominium, the monthly HOA fee might cover some combination of common area maintenance, pool and elevator maintenance, security, administration, landscaping, common electricity, building insurance, and reserve contributions. But every condominium is different. A low HOA fee is not automatically good. It might mean the building is efficient, or it might mean the budget is underfunded and a special assessment could appear later. Before purchasing, I want to see the current HOA fee, the annual budget, what the fee includes, whether the seller is current, reserve information when available, and whether any special assessment has been approved or discussed. For initial planning, many buyers in our market might encounter HOA expenses equal to roughly 0.3% to 1% of the property's value per year. But do not use that range to evaluate a specific building. A luxury development with extensive amenities can exceed it. A smaller building with limited common areas might be below it. Then there is property tax called predial. Compared with many parts of the United States and Canada, annual property tax in Mexico is often modest. But modest does not mean non-existent, and it varies according to cadastral values and municipal rules. For broad planning, some buyers reserve approximately 0.1% to 0.3% of the property's value annually for predial. Again, the actual bill might be lower or higher because it is not necessarily calculated from the international listing price. Use the property's real tax statement, not a percentage from a video, to confirm the amount. And finally, insurance. Ask whether the condominium's master policy covers only the common structure or also portions of the individual unit. You might need your own policy for contents, improvements, personal liability, glass, water damage, hurricane or earthquake exposure, and loss of rental income when relevant. Now we arrive at the category most often underestimated after closing: making the property ready to live in or rent. Even a furnished resale property might require replacement linens, kitchen equipment, television and internet installation, locks, air conditioning, maintenance, paint, repairs, window coverings, and personal items. A pre-construction unit might be delivered with beautiful finishes, but no furniture, some appliances, no closets, no lighting fixtures, or no air conditioning equipment, depending on the contract. The word finished does not always mean moving ready. You must read the specifications. For a condominium that requires complete furnishing, buyers should consider a broad reserve of approximately 5 to 15% of the purchase price. That is a wide range because furnishing a small one-bedroom unit for practical rental use is very different from furnishing a luxury 3-bedroom residence with custom carpentry. This category can completely change your budget. Then calculate your ongoing utilities: electricity, water, gas, internet, and possibly private services or maintenance contracts. Electricity deserves special attention. Air conditioning usage, insulation, orientation, unit size, and the applicable tariff of the electricity company can produce very different bills. Do not take one owner's electricity bills and assume yours will be identical. Request historical bills when available, but evaluate now the previous owner actually used the property. A person who occupies the condo 2 months per year is not a valid comparison for someone planning to live there full-time with 3 air conditioners operating daily. The last category is the one I consider essential: a reserve after closing. I do not recommend using every available dollar to acquire the property and then keeping no liquidity for repairs or surprises. For a resale property, you might discover that an air conditioning unit needs replacement 6 months later. for pre-construction, delivery might be delayed and you might need additional housing. A condominium might approve a special assessment. Insurance might include deductibles. Currency might move against you. Or your rental income might take longer to develop than projected. My preferred planning rule is to retain at least 1 to 3% of the property value as a post-closing ownership reserve. For a $300,000 property, that means approximately $3,000 to $9,000. A more cautious buyer, particularly one relying on rental income or purchasing an older property, might retain more. This reserve is not money you expect to lose. It is money that prevents a manageable property issue from becoming a personal financial emergency. Let's put everything together. Example number 1. Furnished resale. Purchase price $300,000. Planning reserve for acquisition and closing expenses at 6 to 9%, between $18,000 to $27,000 US. Inspection, escrow, initial maintenance, and minor moving expenses approximately $2,000 to $6,000. Post-closing reserve $3,000 to $9,000. A more realistic preliminary cash target could be approximately $323,000 to $342,000. Example number 2 on furnished pre-construction. Purchase price $300,000. Acquisition and closing reserve $18,000 to $27,000. Furniture, appliances, closets, window covering, and equipment $20,000 to $45,000 depending on specifications and quality. Post-closing reserve $3,000 to $9,000. The preliminary total financial commitment might therefore be approximately between $341,000 to $381,000. That does not mean every $300,000 pre-construction unit will cost $381,000. It means you should investigate what the developer actually delivers before believing that the listing price represents the completed investment. So how much money do you really need to buy property in Mexico? My practical answer is, do not begin with the listing price alone. For Puerto Vallarta and Bahía de Banderas, begin by considering the purchase price, approximately 6 to 9% for acquisition and closing related expenses, the initial and annual fideicomiso cost when applicable, escrow and transfer expenses, inspections and professional advice, furnishing or moving costs, your first year of HOA and insurance, and a post-closing cash reserve. Then replace every planning estimate with a written property-specific number before you commit. The smartest buyer is not necessarily the person with the biggest budget. It is the person who understands the complete financial obligation before signing. In the next episode, we are going to answer another fundamental question. Can foreigners really own property in Mexico? I will explain the restricted zone, the fideicomiso, what rights the foreign buyer actually has, and some of the most common myths surrounding property ownership in Mexico. Subscribe so you don't miss episode 7. And if you are considering purchasing in Puerto Vallarta or Bahía de Banderas and need help calculating a realistic acquisition budget, my contact information is in the description below. Watch the next episode in the series and start from episode 1 using the playlist below. I am Nancy Valiente. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next episode.